What's good, man? It's OG Drip, man. This channel where we talk about the spiritual truth and how to utilize energy on a day-to-day basis, man. And y'all check this out, man. Everybody's starting to wake up and it's starting to become a beautiful thing. You know why? Because we having better talking points and we can actually see how the world is actually getting ran. Not being underneath a facade or actually thinking this is some type of Disney World, some type of motion picture thing, or, you know, people are starting to see how the program is being programmed. You get what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and get into it, because one thing I've been noticing is a lot of Gen Zs is taking a different turn. Yeah, a lot of them may look like they're giving up, but the thing is behind it is they're seeing that a system has been failing for years, but people have been struggling to keep this system from not looking as bad. You know what I'm saying? And being studied, keeping it on his back. And those people are us. So when we look at these people, we start to see a generation difference of how people treat the world, versus not saying that the Gen Z is necessarily lazy, which that the give off is that's what it is about them, you right? Because when you come to other generations, you taught to work hard, you know, and try to work harder if you want more. So now when it start to get to this confusion of now, no matter how hard you work, it's about working smarter. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, really. But no matter how hard you work, you still end up with so much debt, all the way to the point that, you know, the things that they promise you, like retirement and all these things, start getting pushed back to a level that is literally you can't never get to it, right? It's literally impossible to get to. So unless you have a million things, you have to have so much of things in play in order for you just to make a regular living. So we got a lot of people that's just like basically doing what everybody know. Clocking in, clocking out, clocking in, clocking out, all the way until you actually clock out with your life or death situation. And then on top of that, now you don't live your whole life not ever getting to experience the things that you actually wanted to do. So, or actually had time for it, because you had to put your time into this. Because remember, if you want more things in life, you have to work harder. And if you're working harder compared to how the systems used to be set, especially when it wasn't no like internet jobs and junk like that, oh, you was hitting them 8-hour shifts. You get what I'm saying? And if you wanted more money, hey, you had to double up. You know what I'm saying? You had to do 16. And if you was working 12, you had to do 24s and all of this just to try to make ends meet. So a lot of people don't understand this, because a lot of these people had things handed down to them. Now, when it comes down to race, that is another reason why black people is the way that we are, because we didn't get much handed down to us. You get what I'm saying? At all. If you'll be lucky to even get a house handed to you that at least work with good air conditioning, that ain't about to set on fire when you turn on the heater. You get what I'm saying? That's some real stuff, because you might look at it and be like, oh, that's certain people. No, it's majority. Like when you start looking at things for what it really is. So when it comes down to stuff like that, you have that going on, but now the whole world is getting hit to the point that they see, hey, I have to come out of retirement and go back to working, which is horrible. Think about that. It's like people that live years off their retirement money, and now you can't even retire if you wanted to. You'll have to get off the retirement to come back out in order to try to get money to make ends meet. And it's not even trying to, if you're trying to become rich or have a crazy lifestyle of living. This is just what it is now, because they have tried to hold on to something so long. You know how they be saying, Christians especially, how they be saying the devil is weary. This is one of those things where they see the system is failing, but they still try to hold on to the control as much as they can. So on another level, they'll have generations battling each other, where they'll have Gen X telling Gen Z, y'all just lazy. But no, it's not. It's actually stupidity for them to keep running their head into the wall and be like, well, at least I put a bigger dent in the wall this time than last lifetime. You get what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. It's crazy out here. So when I was watching the Gen Z stuff, with one of them Gen Z kids talking, if I can remember the channel, y'all, I'll put it in the description for real. But either way, it was from a TikTok. So when you see some of these people, they're breaking down things, right? And when you hear how their life had to be set up in order for them to get, I'm going to just say, just be successful to the way they got, it's not even like you just straight when you're successful. You still have to fight and to stay up. That's the craziest part about it. And that one fall, like you can see with homeless people and stuff, will leave you on your back, of course. So we understand how things is with mistakes and stuff. But wouldn't it be better if we had a lot more control over the mistakes or the things that we're actually doing? So when we have Gen Z coming up with these things, it's basically like being hard-headed spiritually amongst our damn, how I'm gonna say it, the ones that's god damn it, the ones that's basically oppressing us. I don't know, I should have just said that from the beginning, but either way, the ones that's oppressing us. So when you see how you get across against the oppressors, it's not like they're a band no more. You got to think, if just say for instance, if you believe in reincarnation, incarnation, any of these things, right? if people keep coming back and keep living up in the same circumstances, you don't think that each generation that coming out to the next going to be tired of that living circumstance, especially when it's not beneficial to nobody but a small amount, a very small a very small part of the world. You know what I'm saying? My words everywhere right now, y'all. But still, man, the point is, like, to see these things come true, to see that we have somewhere where we able to voice our opinions somewhat, because you see how the video start, and there's certain things I can't say. You know what I'm saying? I'd have been went in on that as well, because, you know, at the end of the day, we supposed to have freedom of speech. But when you start looking at things, it start getting limited to the things that somebody could say a mistake about one of us, or make a mistake even on a news broadcast, and the only thing about it is it just be swept over like, oh, okay, and then it just keep it pushing. Like, but if it was you, you'll get hit with fraud, you get hit with all these type of things. So we see that how hard we get penalized for certain stuff. So of course you got people that's like, hey, what am I working for if I'm gonna still be broke? It's like a self-penalty. You know what I'm saying? So you got a whole bunch of people where it's like a mix and match. And the only way it's gonna work is when people start having the power, like I've been saying, and realizing how much power we all got when we participating in these things. We the things that making the world go around. They just the ones that's in control of it. So when you got things like that going on, you know, this is like when everybody waking up and starting to grab their keys back to their vehicles. You know what I'm saying? They ain't just letting people put them in no car no more. They drive itself, you know, Tesla or whatever, in the spiritual realm. They actually grabbing their own keys and driving their own, you know, their own vehicles, so they can move out the way of asteroids if they have to fly higher than certain things and be into this certain space. And if they have to be in a lower space as like a car or something like that, they know how not to hit a pedestrian, or understand how to look out for crazy, crazy drivers that's ready to wreck at any moment. So in the real life, that just means understanding how to stay away from crash outs and stuff. You know, because just because the world fucked up, that don't mean you go out there and just go to blowing up stuff and do junk like that. Because at the end of the day, this is something that we all got to live in. So we got to have sense to it. That don't mean just go out there. You don't even have to pick up your hands in this type of war. This is a war that could be literally won with intellect, and we literally won with just words of us coming up with agreements and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't realize this war been going on. This is just one of the wars that's not spoken on until the history is already passed. So when you're looking at stuff like that, it's just like how they had the French War versus the Indians and stuff. That was, while that history wasn't making, it was just a whole bunch of things going on. You know what I'm saying? Of how they was trying to get shit in play. So once they got it in play, boom. Now you see the whole movie or the history behind it, aka the story that someone is telling. Because at the end of the day, we know how this shouldn't be. It's a lot of things like we starting to find out the truth about. Like I always ask people, why Native Americans ain't spoke about in the Bible? Why? You know, when you start breaking down things, it's like, hold on, why is y'all holding certain groups at secrecy? And then the way that y'all did things, the land was already everybody's land. So why did you come over here and enforce the land upon people? And then, you know, you start seeing that, yeah, that happened, but that wasn't meant to last forever. That's the reason why we see the end times of them. It's not the end times of us. It's the end times of them. This is the end of their world. So they're facing that right now. This is where they facing things like, yo, I hope these people don't come out of the sleep and slumber. Yo, it look like we're losing control. And that's what it is, man. So it's hard to even speak on it, like I was saying earlier, because they ready to shadow ban you. You know what I'm saying? And that's wrong. Think about it. Like, if I'm just speaking on something, why do I have to be shadow banned? Who to say I'm right? Who to say I'm wrong, right? But when y'all shadow ban people, one thing that y'all do is show people, obviously, this person know what they're talking about. But by them being shadow banned, and y'all know people that matter about clout so much that a person would pass by your video, right, because they have 20 views. I done did it myself before by being caught up in psyops. But at the same time, you got to pay attention, right, to how these things be set up. They know that's how it works. They tell you all the time. They're paying attention to the eyes. They're saying how long you watch somebody's channel, how many times you clicked on their channel, what website you came from their channel. So when they're seeing the engagement, they know how to control it. You get what I'm saying? And that's that simple. So at the end of the day, when you got so many people engaging and waking up, how much you going to be able to control? You can't say everybody conspiracy theory, can you? You have to admit then, okay, damn, maybe they own to something. Or damn, the people themselves going to have to be like, hold up, why is we doing this way? Hold on, I like the way you thinking, and that's what is going on. The more people waking up, it's like everybody tapping each other with like a spiritual hammer. And every time you tap one of those nails with that spiritual hammer, it light up, and that board or that building is getting stronger and stronger, aka the church of God in that way. So now you're starting to see God actually come back. You get what I'm saying? And getting the church back and all that type of stuff there. So people in that case is actually losing their religion versus how the exterior world look. You know, it looked like, you know, people is losing God, but no, that's what they're supposed to be doing, losing the gods that were gave to them, because this was a version of a man that was just put in a different form for them. You get what I'm saying? In many different forms. So when you understand the difference between the two, and even understand the word God itself, of how they created it, all that, man, it get deep. You start understanding what the Great Spirit itself is. You start understanding what spirit itself is, however you want to call it. Because nowadays, at the end of the day, we all know what's going on. We know that we ain't the one that's controlling the way that, I ain't gonna say that way that we got here, right? But I'm gonna say the existence of ourselves. We know it's something more than us. And if you don't believe that, something's definitely wrong with you. But anyways, man, I'm gonna leave it right there. I got a lot of other things I want to speak on, y'all. They going through my mind right now while I'm trying to do this one. But anyways, man, I'm out. OG Drip.